present Ekiti State as it is your governing state, and also as the president of the Nigeria Governors Forum. Can you present that as well?
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Fayemi. I have a background in academia, previously a professor and an activist who was in the front line of the democratic struggle in Nigeria, fighting for the military to leave and for democracy to take root. And eventually, when we got that, I was the head of the Center for Democracy and Development, Center pour la Démocratie et Développement in Nigeria. And I was convinced to stop theorizing and fighting from the barricades to going through the ballot. And I went to contest for election in Ekiti State and won that election. This is my second time in office. Ekiti State is in the southwestern part of Nigeria. It's an agrarian state, one of the new states, one of the latest established states. It was established in the year 1996, and it's been growing in leaps and bounds, has a GDP of $2.5 billion and comparatively larger in population size than many African countries. It's about 3.2 million people in Ekiti, one of the smallest in Nigeria, but of course still larger than countries like the Gambia, like Guinea-Bissau, Cape Verde, and other countries like that. And you know Nigeria. Nigeria itself is the most populous country on the continent. By the year 2050, Nigeria will be the third most populous country in the world after India and China. And 70% of our population is under the age of 30. It's a very youthful population, and that has implications for policy and for these kinds of integration and collaborative networks. And as chair of the Nigerian Governors Forum, the president of the governors in Nigeria, Nigeria is a federal entity. Nigeria has always had states, or what you call regions, here since our independence. And we now have 36 of them. And those 36 come together in a non-partisan forum. They belong to different political parties, but when it comes to development, we all work together. So I chair the body of 36 governors, and I have 3 other colleagues of mine here who joined my delegation to attend this. We have a secretariat that services us, just like the UCLGA secretariat, and it's really a peer review, peer learning organization. We share ideas on those issues that are our responsibilities: education, healthcare, economic development. We make laws because for us in Nigeria, the central government and the state government are actually not subordinates. They are coordinates. We are at the same level. We complement each other. We make laws, they make laws, but they make laws on different things: defense, foreign affairs, customs, those issues that bring all of us together. The laws are made at the central level. When it comes to kids going to school, primary health care, hospitals, when it comes to sanitation, water resources, all of those issues that matter to people directly, we handle them at the state level. And the local governments, what you might call districts in some places or counties in other places, are subsumed within the responsibilities of state in Nigeria. So these are very critical components of the Nigerian state, and Nigerian federalism would not work without those 36 states working complementarily with our central government, which is also a very hugely responsible central authority. But we work together. Our constitution puts national economy in both the hands of the federal and the states. We have a National Economic Council in our constitution, which the president chairs, and all of us, the 36 members of this forum, are the members of that council, and we decide on economic policy together. We also have a National Security Council and a National Police Council, all of which you have states actively participating. And there are a few unique bodies that I serve with the president as the chair, the president of the governors. I work with the president of the country in order to ensure that we are on the same page and we build consensus on economic policy, on security issues, on developmental agenda, SDGs, 2063 agenda, or even net zero agenda for the climate change initiative. So on all of those issues, the Governors Forum plays a very central role. And that's why when this invitation came to us, we were already in some form of discussion with the Afrexim Bank on a wider African Continental Forum of Governors and Regions. So this was a coincidence of interest when we received this invitation that there's an initiative that is emerging. Incidentally, as I remarked in my presentation this afternoon, the United Cities and Local Government Association itself came to being in Abuja. That was where this whole UCLGA started, before moving its offices to Accra and then expanding. So to be midwifing this initiative is a very commendable one, and we're committed to participating actively and to putting all our material, intellectual, and other resources in the service of the Forum of African Regions when it's fully operational, because we believe that we need such a body. And we're already seeing example of how to make this body work. In the last 2 to 3 hours, I've had meetings with the Casablanca region, I've had meetings with the Uja region, I've had meetings with another region in the southeast part of Morocco. And these are things that we're going to be signing memorandum of understanding on and working on how we can achieve complementarity in areas of economic cooperation. And this is just a model of what can happen. We also can share experiences of decentralization and devolution, how we've done it in Nigeria. When Kenya started devolution, I recall that as chair of the Governors Forum in 2012, I went to Mombasa to provide some learning experiences, because we've been doing this for a long time. They were just starting in Kenya in 2012. That was the first time they had governors, and we basically helped them to bring them to speed on how to negotiate the relationship with the central government, because that's always the tricky bit of decentralization. How do you work with central government? Central government is used to appropriating all the powers to itself. Decentralization has the principle of ensuring that resources follow functions, so that you don't end up with a tyranny of unfunded mandates, which can often be the challenge of devolution and decentralization in Africa. You give the powers and the responsibilities and the functions, but the resources stay with the central government. It doesn't come to the state or the region. And that is a tyranny of unfunded mandates. We must fight that in this forum.
You mainly answered my second question.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned the importance of cooperation between first of all, the states of Nigeria, the 36 states of Nigeria, to tackle the issues and
absolutely
the importance of working with other regions of the continent to promote the South-to-South.
And the importance of working with the central government, because they have all the powers, and working in such a manner that it's not a master-servant relationship, because federalism, which is slightly different from what is practiced in some other parts of Africa. Federalism is complementary, it is not subordinate. But it's a message that is difficult to get through, especially if you're coming like us from a military dictatorship where power gets handed down. It's a top-down arrangement. It's difficult to move from that to a complementary, coordinate arrangement.
Okay, so working with the national states and then with other regions are among the elements that participate in the African integration.
Absolutely.
How, as the president of Nigeria Governors Forum, how do you perceive the launch of this event, particularly that it matches your vision and then the vision of Nigeria?
I think it's historic. I think it's a Pan-African agenda that is long overdue, and it is one that every committed Pan-Africanist should buy into, because it moves us nearer to that agenda of a united Africa, but a united Africa of our people, rather than just a united Africa of states. We've had united Africa of states for as long as we can all remember. Organization of African Unity. It transformed into African Union. We have our head of states, they meet all the time, but we're not always totally connected to whatever it is that they're doing. But what makes subnationals more important is that when those leaders take their decisions at the higher level and they agree the principles, implementation only gets effective when it goes right down to grassroots level. And national states don't always have that. They can do policy, they can do monitoring, they can do evaluation, but they don't often do implementation. We do implementation. The hospitals need to be fixed so that the maternity wards can have pregnant women deliver their babies safely. For the head of state, it's a theory. For me, I go to those hospitals. I get complaints from the pregnant women directly. The head of state will never get such a complaint directly. And that is the synergy that this brings about. That is what makes it a very, very important exercise in deepening our governing framework. That's what it does, and we need to now start looking at other ways of generating the resources that will make this much more tangible for the ordinary people that we serve, because they're the ones who elected us. And I see this going places. I see this growing in leaps and bounds. And for us in the Nigerian Governors Forum, we're very excited about the opportunities that lie ahead.
Serving people is why you've been elected.
Absolutely.
It brings me to my question is, can you point one example of a direct contribution of a local corporation, particularly that you are here today in Morocco and then you signed, you are engaging into many MOUs that benefited directly your citizens?
I've been talking to my colleagues, at least two of my colleagues, presidents of regions, about agriculture. I used to be the Minister of Mines in Nigeria. One item that I worked very closely with the Moroccan authority on when I was Minister of Mines was phosphate. Phosphate is something that we use for fertilizers. And when I was Minister, we worked with OCP. There's a Moroccan mining organization called OCP that produces phosphate. And we managed to get them to come into Nigeria to come and set up a phosphate plant, because we have a lot of phosphate, they have a lot of technical experience, and that's a kind of partnership. Right now, Nigeria is piping gas all the way from Nigeria to Morocco. And that's a major game changer. Although that's something we're benefiting from, partly because the relationship between the Majesty, the King of Morocco, and our president is a very strong one. So that has helped us at that higher level. But when it comes to those detailed work, because those pipes are going to go through our states. So when you want to do environmental impact assessment, you're going to come to the state affected, not to the president. Those are the practical issues that we have had to engage some of our colleagues on how to also draw from examples of how they've done agriculture here in a manner that can be expanded in our own setting. But locally, what our peer review really does is identify who is the best state in particular things. Primary education. How do we curb the menace of out-of-school children? Which state has done very well and how have they done it? And then that state will provide a training, a capacity building initiative. If it is healthcare, the state that has done that will bring that on. If it is internally generated revenue, taxes, a state that is doing so well in raising taxes and cutting leakages, we would also share those experiences. So on tangible, specific issues like that, we always benefit from one another.
The Nigerian Governance Forum is well known for its peer review program.
Yes.
If I may call it program. But I know it's bigger than that.
It's bigger than peer review. It's more of peer learning. We try not to call it peer review because it's not a bean counting, it's not a monitoring. We're not marking scripts of ourselves, but we're helping each other to improve.
How is Nigeria Governance Forum is willing to contribute to the success of Forum?
That's one example. The template that we've used for our peer review mechanism is something that we will gladly also avail the Forum of African Regions. We would also share with the forum how it's been possible for us to collaborate even though we belong to different political parties. But when it comes to the work of the Nigerian Governors Forum, we don't discuss party there. We discuss development, we discuss the people. And we try to reduce partisan interest because the structure of our forum is such that the majority party would produce the chairman, the minority will produce the deputy. So we all have roles to play and we don't allow partisan interest to override our developmental objectives. So those are some of the things we can share. We have also been doing some work as a forum on the Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is something that would enable region to region to transact business without going through necessarily the national. And that's something that has been a problem in Africa. The sovereigns are the ones who trade. Even if Casablanca and Kano State in Nigeria have more in common, they still have to go vertically to that behemoth called the sovereign before getting together. And our expectation is that the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement would enable us to do things without necessarily having to succumb to the bureaucracies of engaging as sovereigns.
Okay, thank you. My last question would be, what are your recommendations for the success of Forum, particularly that it's a governing body used in Africa?
What are my recommendations? Well, first and foremost, I think it should grow slowly. Two, it should try as much as possible to be as inclusive as possible. There are still states that run subnational entities that are not present at this forum. Once we have established and inaugurate the forum, one of our tasks, I believe, should be how to reach out to those who have not been part of it, so that we don't succumb to all these divisions, these artificial divisions in our continent. We're Africaphone, not Lusophone, not Francophone, not Anglophone, but Africaphone. That should be what drives this, not our attachment to the metropole, wherever those metropoles may be, because this is a Pan-African initiative and we should make sure that our citizens take ownership of it.